I'm Father John Petrich, the pastor here at Our Lady of Mercy Parish on Park Point in the city of Duluth. I'm going to tell you a story, a journey from the voyageurs to the St. Lawrence Seaway, a journey of faith that this parish community has seen. The first priests to ever touch in the city of Duluth walked on the beach out the back door of the church. So we could say the first Mass ever prayed in this area was prayed within the confines of Park Point. That was in the mid-1800s. In 1871, the shipping canal was dug. There were many people living out here doing fishing and boating, finding their livelihood on Lake Superior. The Mass was not regularly celebrated, but the parish area was connected with the cathedral up the hill, Sacred Heart. And in the early 1900s, the priests would come down from Sacred Heart to the different houses in the neighborhood to celebrate Mass. As things grew and as the neighborhood became more solidified with people, they found the need to build, to make a church building. This building originally stood at 9th Avenue East and 1st Street. It was cut in half in 1922 and dragged over the ice and brought here and put on cedar posts, some of which are still holding up parts of this building, many of which we've changed in the last 20 to 30 years. But the building was reassembled, and the first baptism that was celebrated here was celebrated in August of 1922. Margaret McGillis. We just had her Mass of Christian burial 2 months ago. Fantastic lady. Lived her whole life on Park Point, as many of the old-time parishioners have. They've been here for 2 and 3 generations, praying, coming to this parish, journeying with God, sharing their faith, their hope, and their love. And they've seen many things change. One time this parish was tied with Duluth Heights, St. Joseph's. And as things began to grow in the early 1950s, they were separated. And Father Chisholm came down, and he was the pastor here. And he built the rectory next door, 1952. The rectory was a place where the parish could gather, as we still gather. In 1984, this parish was again clustered with the downtown parishes. Father Dennis Hoffman was pastor at that time, and he worked to bring people together, to bring finances together, to create the Catholic Church in the downtown center city of Duluth. He was followed by Pat McDowell, Monsignor Pat, and he worked to recreate the inside of this building, the new windows that came from a church down in the Twin Cities, the new stations that came in about 1994. Then I became pastor here 2 years ago, 2010. And we've done a little bit of work. We've cleaned up the building a bit. We've set about building the community of believers. We've reorganized the sanctuary and cleaned that up. And we continue to bring people together. So we could say in the last 100, 120, 125 years, this parish has journeyed with the community, from the voyageurs to the opening of the St. Lawrence Seaway, 1959, to the big grain ships that are parked out just over my shoulder, anchored in the anchorages of Lake Superior, waiting to come forward and get their grain. The steel carriers, the taconite ships, going in and out, the big 1,000-footers. We can see them as we're bridged, waiting to go back to the mainland. We hope to continue here as a vibrant Christian community. We continue to celebrate Mass, sacraments, to hear confessions, and to work in the lives of faithful men and women. Come and join us here on Park Point the church on the beach